Hello everybody, happy Saturday and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be addressing a highly requested topic that came up when I asked you guys recently what you wanted to hear about on my channel going forward. And a lot of people said that they were concerned about the availability of classes at UCLA and how hard it is to get classes. So that's the topic of today's video, and stay tuned if that interests you. So I first off want to give a disclaimer and just say that I am obviously not an expert on this. I have gone to UCLA for 3 quarters now and enrolled in 3 quarters worth of classes, the first of which was during my orientation. So during your orientation at UCLA, there are specific spots held in fall classes for incoming freshmen and transfer students who are new. The only thing is that you are enrolling in your classes at the same time as everyone else at orientation, so sometimes it can be a little bit difficult. That is a whole nother topic that I don't really think I need to get into right now. It's honestly not really relevant in the grand scheme of things because that is really just like a one-time experience compared to the regular process of enrolling in classes. So I have shown you guys in vlogs before the process of enrolling in classes. I will put on the screen, probably somewhere up here, a suggested video, which is one of the vlogs I did where I'm enrolling in my classes and you can kind of see what it's like. Basically, you are just on the UCLA website, the registration website. The way it works is that a few weeks before registration begins, they release the schedule of classes for the quarter. You pick the classes that you're interested in. You rank them in order of importance, and this is really important because if a class has only like 10 or 20 spots in it, obviously that should probably be one of your number 1 classes if it's required for a major, because it's going to be a lot harder to be one of 20 than it is to be like one of 80. So you rank them in terms of importance, and you always want to have a ton of backups. That way, if one of the classes that you're interested in gets filled when you have your enrollment pass, you have something that you can immediately click on and just say, okay, I want to enroll, rather than searching for the class or entering the code for the class, which takes up a lot of time. And honestly, the websites are kind of lame. So a lot of times during enrollment, they break down or they are super slow. So that's why it's important to set up the alternatives ahead of time. And usually, I don't have an impacted major, so I usually just have 2 or 3 alternates. I know a lot of people who do like 6 or 7, depends on your major, depends on your preferences and how worried you are. You will have alternates that are for GE requirements, usually for major requirements, or just general upper div classes, because on top of your major requirements, I believe you have to have at least 60 upper division units in order to graduate with a bachelor's from UCLA. The way it works at UCLA for regular registration in classes is you have something called an Enrollment Pass. You have 2 passes. These are predetermined dates set up by UCLA. I honestly am not sure how they're determined. I was told they're determined by GPA, but I don't think that's true because I know people who had way lower GPAs than me who had earlier registration dates than me. So I honestly don't really know how it works. Ask your counselor if you're interested in more about that, but either way, you don't really have a whole lot of say in when your enrollment date is. Actually, you have 0 say in when your enrollment date is, so it doesn't matter, honestly. So the enrollment date is predetermined by UCLA. They usually send some type of notification with your enrollment date. Your first pass is going to be where you have the chance to enroll in 10 units of credit. So you only get to enroll in 10 units. So in my major, most classes are worth 5 units. So for example, my first pass, I'm only allowed to enroll in 2 classes. And then you have a second pass, which is at a later date, usually a week or 2 later, you can enroll in the rest of your units. The maximum number of units you can enroll in depends on the school that you're in. So at UCLA in the College of Letters and Sciences, it is 19. I think in the engineering school, it's like 22 or 23 or something like that, and it really depends on how many units the average class is in your department. So like I said, Ling, it's 5, so sometimes it can be a little problematic. You can get permission from the records department to increase that in special situations. I'm not too familiar with that because I've never done that, but you can. Just know that it's an option. You don't have to take the maximum number of units, but you can. And the second enrollment lasts until, I believe, the second week of the quarter. So you can drop classes, you can switch classes, you can do whatever you want in that time frame. The first enrollment pass is usually, I believe, only 24 or 48 hours. So you have that one chance to pick those 2 classes that are really important to you. Now, the thing that people really want to know about is how difficult is it to get classes? So like I said, I'm not an expert on this. I am an applied linguistics major at UCLA, and I am a junior who is going to be a rising senior. So I have more and more leeway as I progress through my education. But I do not have an impacted major. Linguistics is not an impacted major. What that means is that it's not a super huge major, and it's not super competitive. So like, you know, biology, political science, psychology, those are impacted majors. Those are majors that are really difficult to be accepted into the school for, and those are majors that have a lot of students who are majoring in them. So of course the class space is going to be a lot more limited and a lot more restricted. So the problem that I have had in getting the classes that I needed is more about fulfilling prerequisites. So without going into too much detail, basically the applied linguistics major is like linear progression. You take Ling 20, which is intro, and once you take Ling 20, that is the prerequisite for like Ling 102, Ling 103, 119, and so on. So you have to keep taking Ling 20, Ling 102 or 103, and then the prereq for like 119 and 120 is 102 or 103. The problem that I had last quarter, so winter quarter, was that I am, for my foreign language requirement, taking American Sign Language. Okay. There is one American Sign Language professor at UCLA, and there is one American Sign Language course offered per quarter, just one section. So it is always at like noon on Mondays and Wednesdays. So I pretty much have committed, in order to fulfill my foreign language requirement, I've committed myself to taking ASL for the entire junior year. So I knew ahead of time that there was going to be this class that I had to take at 12 on Mondays and Wednesdays. It's like a 3-hour class. It's long. The other problem is that because linguistics is such a small major relative to like psychology or biology, there's usually also only one section offered per quarter. Maybe 2 if the class is like Ling 20 or Ling 102 or something that's really big. So in winter and in spring, the classes that I needed, 102, 103, 119, they were all at the same time as ASL. I went to my counselor and I said, what should I do? She told me, you should really try to finish your foreign language requirement, because if you don't do it now, you're gonna have to wait until next year to finish it. And you will probably forget most of what you learned, which is true, because it is hard to keep up with a language and to remember things if you're not practicing it on a daily basis or on a regular basis. So I was like, okay, sounds reasonable. So for winter quarter, I was only able to take one class for my major, which really sucked. For spring, the same problem happened again. So I have ASL Mondays and Wednesdays from 12:30 to 3 o'clock. Okay, that is a huge chunk of time. So I needed 119A, I believe, and 120B or something like that for linguistics. Those were also at the same exact time as ASL. So that was a problem. And the other thing is that most of the other classes in linguistics, because it is like a linear progression through the major, require you to take 119 or 120 in order to be eligible to take those classes. So you see, I'm kind of stuck. I'm in a pickle, basically. I'm in a situation where I can't really move up, but I have to finish this class. You know, it sucks, honestly. It sucks, and it took a toll on me. I complain about it, but the thing you have to realize about my major is that it is a major that can be completed in less than 2 years. So even though I complain about it, I'm still gonna graduate on time. I could have graduated early if I wanted to. Honestly, if I wasn't taking ASL, if I was taking like French or Japanese or something like that, I probably would have not had this problem. But I'm taking ASL. I'm not changing my language at this point because I've already been studying it for 2-3 years, so no. Plus, it's what I'm interested in. So I can still graduate on time. Other people who have impacted majors, such as biology or psychology, may not have the luxury of time and may have a little bit more trouble getting their classes because it's so impacted. The other thing though is that there are usually more than one section offered of a class, especially if it's like a class that is required, it's a core requirement, everyone has to take it. But that being said, I still know a lot of people who complain about it. I'm sorry if I can't give you guys as much information as you need, because I'm not a South Campus major. I can't really advise you on what it's like to enroll in classes as a South Campus major, so I apologize. But just know that it is a problem. I'm sure there are other YouTubers. Actually, yeah, Amanda Magana, I think she's a biology major. She just graduated from UCLA last year, so definitely check out her channel. She might have some videos on this topic. If not, I'm sure she would be happy to answer your questions about it. I don't want to scare you guys away from UCLA. If you get in and you're excited about it, you should be. It's UCLA, congratulations. But I don't really think that this is something that should necessarily deter you, especially since this is something that plagues a lot of colleges, not just UCs, but colleges in general. You know, I have friends that go to San Jose State, San Francisco State, and they're kind of in the same boat. I'm pretty sure that in most cases, people graduate on time. Yeah, it's gonna be okay. I hope that this video answered the questions that you guys had, but if not, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm happy to, you know, answer those questions for you. And thank you all so much for watching. Check out my other videos about enrolling in classes and just about my general experience at UCLA. They will be here in the suggestions box. And I will see you guys next Saturday at 3 p.m. Thank you so much. Bye.